Hello and welcome to a Blaseball Statistical History, a look at the Charleston Shoe Thieves development across the expansion era. The Shoe Thieves fought a god in the discipline era. They won a championship and competed in most of the postseasons. They head into the expansion era, their entire lineup still cursed with flinch, and all but one of their rotation cursed with mild. The only pitcher not cursed is the returned Tillman Henderson. The batting stars are variable, and the rotation in worse shape. The team finished season 12 at 16th in the league, equal to their lowest discipline era finish, but get wildcarded into the postseason. They have a strong performance there, making it to the league series before being knocked out by the Garages. During the season, they win one win from Sun 2, but it and Black Hole activated more for their opponents. They saw one positive and one negative blood rain, but benefited from 8 parties. In the election, they used their wills to give themselves 4th strike and infuse their weakest pitcher, Tillman Henderson. They also gain Pudge Nakamoto as the breath mints revoke them. A mix of parties and infusion have levelled out the rotation, whilst the lineup remains mostly the same, besides new batter Pudge. But season 13 is worse, as the team drop 2 league places. They have an identical showing to last season from Sun 2 and Black Hole. 2 players take brief trips to elsewhere, and there is a negative blood rain. Then, Hotbox Sato is incinerated and replaced by Alks Kemming. 8 parties provide a welcome respite. Their wills this time are used to infuse Stu Trollolol and bring Herring Winfield onto the lineup. After the election, Tillman is called back to the Hall of Flame as a result of their returned modification, and they are replaced by Simba Davis. The team also lose one of their Shadows players unexpectedly, as Tad Seath gains the brand new modification Redacted and disappears from their roster. Ironically, the only beneficial event of season 13 was the incineration, as Alks Kemming, the new lead-off batter, is an improvement. Things go from bad to worse, as the Thieves tumble down to 23rd overall. Both Sun 2 and Black Hole weather are against them, and Fitzgerald Wanderlust has an allergic peanut reaction. 5 players take trips to elsewhere, but Sebastian Woodman takes a more permanent trip to the Hall of Flame, as they are replaced by Bennett Bluesky. The team also lose Wyatt Mason 12, who had joined the team in the late siesta, but then became static. The 9 parties the team have seem like little consolation. But finishing low does have some perks, as they get 3 wills. The first is used to infuse their worst batter, the second to move Blood Hamburger onto the rotation, and the third to swap newly arrived Bennett Bluesky to the Spies in exchange for Jordan Hildebeer. A new pitcher arrives as the Moist Talkers revoke Bright Zimmerman. Then, as a result of Tad Seath's disappearance last season, the team's ballpark becomes a crime scene. Bright's arrival is not a benefit to the rotation, but the lineup is now far more consistent. And there is an improvement, as the Shoe Thieves move up to joint 18th. They gain 1 win from Sun 2, and Simon Haley returns from elsewhere. But Cornelius Games faces a consumer attack, and 4 of the team are observed, leading to Alks Kemming getting redacted. The team also get 5 parties. During the season, Uncle Plasma investigated at the crime scene and found traces of coffee before the Shoe lost the crime scene modification. With their wills, the Shoe Thieves opt for a transfusion for Snyder Briggs and try to recruit Jalen Hotdog Fingers from the Garages. But due to order of events, the Garages, who had voted to move Jalen to their rotation, get them back and keep the player the Thieves had sent in exchange. But the team did win a blessing, stealing Alexandri Walton from the Tacos. They also gained a new batter as Stu Briggs roamed from the Spies. Besides new arrival Stu, the lineup is full of power, but the rotation still has weaknesses. Another move up sees the Shoe Thieves finishing at joint 15th, their best ranking of the era. They get wildcarded into the postseason, which they are knocked out of in the division series by the Stakes. They gain 1 win from Sun 2, Jordan Hildebeer takes an open-ended trip to elsewhere, and Simon Haley has an allergic peanut reaction. In feedback weather, their strongest batter Hal Franklin is sent to the garages in exchange for Oliver Lufa, and the team get another 8 parties. In the election, they make a player swap with the lift and re-roll Velasquez Allstott's flinch modification, whilst a blessing grants Esme Ramsey the Earlbirds modification. The feedback doesn't leave too big a hole in the lineup, but the rotation still needs work. The team continue on their upward trajectory, finishing 12th. They gain a win from Sun 2, but then forfeit it to the Black Hole. Jordan returns from elsewhere, and Velasquez takes a quick holiday. There are 3 positive to 2 negative blood rains, and the rotation gets reverbed. 2 players are observed, but both stay. The Shoe Thieves then manage to gain 2 attractors, Oscar Dolly, who is battered in by Nora Perez, who was haunting Velasquez Allstott, and Ren Hunter, who is battered in by Oliver Lufa. Oscar then leaves the shadows thanks to Fax Machine. Feedback weather also makes some rotation changes, as Jalen Hotdog Fingers passes through, sending Fitzgerald Wanderlust to the garages and replacing them with Inky Rutledge from the Magic. A change is also made to the lineup, as Pudge Nakamoto is incinerated. And there are 2 parties. Election time comes, and the Thieves use their wills to transfuse Cornelius Games, and, for the 2nd season running, re-roll Velasquez Allstott's modification. They say a farewell to Inky, who is taken by the lift, but they do win 2 blessings, granting 2 players items. The incineration knocks a hole in the lineup, and the lift's player trade isn't ideal for pitching either. This is reflected, as the Shoe Thieves drop back down to 19th in the league. They lose a win to the Black Hole, and Blood Hamburger has an allergic peanut reaction. But Richardson Games gets a positive blood rain. Then the whole team is reverbed. Jordan goes elsewhere again, and Fax Machine goes wild, making 6 changes to the rotation. The team face 9 consumer attacks, 7 of which they defend against, but this is slightly countered by 4 parties. The team receive 3 gifts, gaining soul patches, becoming the life of the party, and gaining an item. In the election, they use their wills to re-roll Esme Ramsey's Haunted modification, and to alternate Ren Hunter, who loses the Attractor modification. They also win 3 blessings, 1 granting them the Afterparty modification, 1 giving them A blood type, and the 3rd giving them Good Riddance, meaning when a Roman player leaves their team, they throw a party, which happens immediately as Stu Briggs heads to the Worms. After the reverb, the team has suffered. There is still strength in the lineup, but it opens and closes weekly, whilst the rotation is all over the place. In Season 19, being bad is good, and the Shoe Thieves finish 4th in the league. They head into the postseason, where they are eliminated in the Division Series by the Magic. They join the rest of the league in the seasonal reading, as Gunter O'Brien becomes a Seeker. The weather is largely against them wins-wise, but there is a positive blood rain, and Oliver Lufa defends against the only consumer attack. The team get 4 parties, but the lineup is reverbed, and Fax Machine makes a huge 7 changes to the rotation. The Thieves get 3 gifts, as they opt for soul patches, an item, and a replica of Goodwin Morin. Their wills are used to revoke Bright Zimmerman, whose departure sparks another party, and to re-roll Stu Trollolol's flinch modification. They win 2 blessings, so are able to recruit Agan Harrison from the mechanics, and sneak Goodwin Morin III into their shadows, so they don't turn to dust after the election. The team looks a bit more stable, but could do with some optimising. The Shoe Thieves remain low in the league, at 15th. They do qualify for the under bracket, which they are knocked out of in the Division Series by the Garages. They forfeit a win through Sun 2, and Oliver Lufa has a negative blood rain. 4 players take trips elsewhere, but none for more than a day. Fax Machine tries to help out with another 7 changes to the rotation, but Alejandro Leaf is incinerated and replaced by Vernon Shotwell. the team face 9 consumer attacks and defend against 6 of them, but also benefit from 9 parties. The team are given 3 gifts, 2 items, and they become early to the party. They use their wills to move Donna Milisic to the shadows and put Richardson Games on the lineup, but the garages want to make a trade and swap Oliver Lufa for Terrell Bradley. The lineup remains a bit of a mess, although it does contain strong batters, while the rotation opens with the 3rd strongest pitcher in the league, but it isn't supported. Season 21 is another low result, as they finish 17th. They do gain 13 wins between Black Hole and Sun 30, and 5 of their players get 2 parties each. Fax Machine and first-time caller Voicemail make 2 changes each. There are 4 brief trips to elsewhere and 2 defended consumer attacks. But on day 17, Richardson Games picks up the 5th base and places it down 3 innings later. The Shoe Thieves get 3 gifts, 1 item, and turning the team fireproof and early to the party. In an extraordinary show of team communication, Shoe Thieves fans, fearing that Richardson Games was going to hold on to the 5th base and roam off the team, raced to pour votes into a will to move them back onto the team. In the 3 innings Richardson was holding the base, they put enough votes in to make it happen. However, it was all unnecessary and moves Richardson from the lineup to the lineup. However, they do use their 2nd will to take Inky Rutledge from the lift, sending back Terrell Bradley. They also win 2 blessings, which move their strongest pitcher to the lineup and boosts the whole team's cinnamon. It turns out Oscar Dolly is not just the team's strongest pitcher, but also their strongest hitter. And with the acquisition of Inky, the rotation may do just fine without them. There is quite an improvement, as the Thieves jump to 10th in the league. This is aided by gaining 14 wins from the weather. Blood Hamburger has an allergic peanut reaction, and then is moved in and out of the rotation by Fax Machine. There are 5 short trips to elsewhere, and 3 parties. Another 3 gifts for the Shoe Thieves sees them gain replicas of New Meganito and the Dynamic Duo. In the election, their wills allow them to re-roll Oscar Dolly's attractor modification, and swap Jessica Telephone from the Crabs. However, Jess is then grabbed by the stakes, leaving the Thieves with Connor Haley. They win 2 blessings, as they regain Tad Seath from the Pies, and alternate some of their lineup, which also removes Tad's attractor modification. They are affected by 3 blessings, as they send a Shadows player to the garages, and see Velasquez Allstott become skipping, and Esme Ramsey become a subtractor at the hands of the Worms and the Fridays. The rotation suffers a hit from Fax Machine putting Inky in the shadows, and the lineup continues to be gappy. But this does not bother the Thieves, who finish joint 8th overall and qualify for the postseason, where they are eliminated in the division series by the garages. They gain 10 wins from the weather, but see yet another full team reverb. Blood Hamburger takes an open-ended trip to elsewhere as they move from the rotation to the lineup due to Fax Machine and Voicemail. The Mechanics Thieves Guild steals a Shadows player, and 4 players are unstable, before one of them is incinerated and replaced by Orion Ultra Base. This season, the Thieves get 2 gifts, an item and becoming late to the party. They are one of just 3 teams to choose the containment party favour, but join the rest of the league in becoming under review. They also send a Shadows player to the Tacos. They enter the final season of the era in a bit of a mess. There is plenty of power across the roster, but with repeated team reverbs, it may not be being successfully utilised. In Season 24, the Shoe Thieves finish 4th in their new division of the Desert, and 8th of the original 24 ILB teams. They gained 4 wins from the weather, and a Shadows player from the Millennials. Blood Hamburger returns from elsewhere, whilst Fax Machine makes 4 changes to the rotation, and Voicemail 2 to the lineup. Night Shift also makes a batter change. Castillo Turner swings by for 9 days with 5th base, before heading to the Excavators, and Parker McMillan pays a visit, leaving the team unstable after their departure. Connor Haley is also unstable, but survives it, and players defend against all 6 consumer attacks. There is even time for 3 parties. The Shoe Thieves know where they want to go on the map, and beeline for the desert. They join the desert bus for Wrath in rushing the coin, and then head straight back to finish the era there. During the expansion era, the Shoe Thieves faced the most incinerations and reverbs of Mild Low, with 5 and 4, as well as the most parties with 73. They also saw 3 feedbacks. 4 of their players had allergic peanut reactions, and they had 1 more positive than negative blood rain, with 6 to 5. Both Black Hole and Sun 2 were against them, as Black Hole ended 14 to 9 negative to positive, and they topped their division with 15 negative Sun 2s to 9 positive. None of their players were shelled, but they had the most unstable players in Mild Low with 6. They had 7 observations, but only 1 active redaction. They experienced 1 night shift and 9 voicemails, but had a record-breaking 31 fax machines. They lost and gained 1 Shadows player through the Thieves Guild. Their players took 24 trips elsewhere, with the longest stay being 61 days. They gained 31 wins from Sun 30, but also faced 28 consumer attacks. Their Arcana, the Wheel of Fortune, appeared in just 1 seasonal reading. They played in 4 postseasons, half of those as wildcard, but didn't win another championship. They also played in 1 underbracket, and didn't win that either. They were given 17 gifts, used 23 wills, and won 13 blessings. At the end of the expansion era, the Shoe Thieves are scattered. They have faced so much reshuffling that it's hard to measure them just on star power. The once terrifying rotation has lost a lot of its force, and the lineup is fairly consistent in stars, but unreliable in performance. Thank you for joining me for another Blaxplanation. I'll be back with more Blaseball fun and facts soon, but until then, rejoice, play ball.